On tonight's live training, we want to discuss the difference between strategy and tactic. I help owners just like yourself build amazing brands. I help them get new clients, maintain the ones they have, and really profit in their business. And as I'm speaking of branding, branding of course is how the marketplace sees you, but branding more so than that, because oftentimes we feel that branding is logos and websites and things of that nature, but branding is really an internal thing. When you're looking to define who you are as a brand, it's more about understanding who you are and building a business that allows you to operate in your values and the things that are important to you, and to attract people who are attracted to very similar things as yourself. Branding is an internal process, and so a lot of branding specialists really focus on, getting you the right colors and the right logo and things of that nature, and I think they definitely have their place. But I think even more so, before a person ever gets to the point where they should be able to articulate their brand colors and their logos and things of that nature, all of those things are determined by who you are as a brand and who you want to attract into your business. And so that's more of the aspect of branding that I deal with. So I'm kind of like that root foundational portion of branding. I take my clients through that process. And what happens when owners come to me for branding aspects or even coaching opportunities, whatever their needs are in their business that I specialize in, I'm really big on clarity. And so finding out and defining who they are as a brand helps them to operate their business on another level. I find that many owners don't have clarity, and so they do things that bring in revenue, but they aren't necessarily profitable. It's so funny because seeing as though we're talking about branding, one of the things I did earlier today, periodically I just kind of go through the group and make sure everything is up to date, and I was actually introducing or approving some new people to come and join us in our group. And I just so happened to go over to the about section of our group, and I just read it. You guys know, once you get on social media, you can definitely start scrolling, even if those weren't your intentions. So as I'm reading, I find a word that I wanted to change. And in my efforts to actually change that word, I made a mistake and deleted the entire description that I had in the about section. Now, mind you, I had just changed the description maybe about a month ago, right? I thought that I had gotten the description perfect for the season that I was in. And I say that this is all going to tie in together with our training tonight as well. But what has been occurring for me in my business is I've also been receiving new levels of brand clarity about who I am, my value in the marketplace, and who it is that I serve. And so what happens is, as you become more and more clear about who you are and your value in the marketplace, then it also affects everything else that you do in your business. This is why I said earlier that most people think about branding, they think about logos and websites and things of that nature, and your colors, and they're included. But when you really are clear on who you are as a brand, it dictates all the other things that you do. So as I evolved, as I began to understand more about who I was as a brand, as a consultant, my brand as a consultant and a coach for the industry, my brand message changed, because I now understand that there is a different market that's actually attracted to what it is that I do as a coach, as the services that I provide. So that's what led to me changing the about section. So mind you, when I go to change it, it actually deletes by mistake, guys. Oh my goodness, it deletes. And I'm like, how in the world? There's no way I can remember what I said, and it just seemed so perfect. And so I just took a moment and closed my eyes, and I kind of just surrendered to the process. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but I'm teaching already, right? So I just surrendered to the process, and I really embodied what it was that I wanted to say in the about section, and who it is that I am called to serve and help at this season in my business. And I say in this season because I see a lot of entrepreneurs. And so one of the things that I see is people who I feel are frustrated in their processes. It doesn't mean that they aren't getting revenue. It doesn't mean that money is not coming into them. But even with all of that, even if they have a lot of clients, they're still finding themselves frustrated. And I feel that many entrepreneurs have evolved so much to the point where there's so many gifts that have been elevated on the inside of them. There's so much knowledge and wisdom and experience that they've gained, but they're still operating those things in the same box or space or dynamics, or even using the same strategy, if strategy at all, that they were using prior to them evolving. And so what I'm finding is that a lot of people are frustrated, but they're frustrated because it's time for them to expand and to do things differently. And we're going to touch bases on those things for tonight in the training. So strategies and tactics. Strategies and tactics. First of all, a strategy is long-term versus short-term. Long-term versus short-term. So I'm going to use my daughter for an example. Actually, this is a conversation that we just had probably about 30 minutes ago. So she says, Mom, you have a class tonight. You know, what are you teaching on? And I said strategy versus tactic. And then I go on to kind of explain to her the difference in a way that she would understand. So my daughter absolutely loves dancing. And one of her dreams is to own a dance school. And so I explained to her the difference in strategy and tactic, because one of the things that, two things really, that I really encouraged her to do, if she was really serious about what she wanted to do, was one, I encouraged her to volunteer with her dance teacher. My daughter's 12 years old, and so she can definitely be of use to her dance teacher with the smaller students, you know, that she has. So I encouraged her to volunteer. And secondly, well, three things actually. I also encouraged her to begin to study dance, like literally read on it and study like famous dancers and get their biographies and things of that nature. And then I had 4 books, they're entrepreneurial books, that I suggested that she read. Now, she absolutely loves dance, guys. She really does. But she didn't do any of those things, right? But she has gotten really good at dancing, really good at dancing. And she dances around the house all the time. Those are tactics. I hope you guys get this. Those are tactics. So tactics are like her getting better at her skill set, right? Constantly, you know, getting better at her skill set. But strategy, y'all don't hear me, would be her connecting with her dance teacher and doing some things that would allow her to be under the wings of someone who's already gone the mile. Now, it's not to say that she can't have a dance school and, you know, things won't go well for her, but her chances of getting there quicker are lessened when she only does tactics and not strategy. And so how does this relate to a hair owner in the industry? So for many years, especially when I very first started off in the industry, I had an advantage that I didn't understand was an advantage of that at that time, because I didn't have anyone to tell me. Um, there was a very busy salon in the area that I live in. They came to the beauty school and asked to speak with me and offered me a position in their salon before I ever finished hair school. And what was happening, their clients, in between them having hair services at the salon, they were coming to the school and I was servicing them. And when they found this out, they asked me to come and work in their salon. So I went there, worked as an assistant, and I already had a job when school was out. And it was the busiest salon, in town, one of the busiest salons in our town. And so I consistently had clients, and I just kept getting better on my skill set, and just doing more customers. And after about a year, I got the big head and decided, because I was commissioned, I think I was like at 40%. My first check, I still remember, was like $818. And that was just my 40% commission. So if you guys have any idea of the amount of money that I was making that week, it was probably a couple $1,000s. So because I was doing so many clients, I got the big head and I decided I'm not going to give them any more of my money. I am going to go rent a booth and do this thing on my own. And it flopped. It flopped. I couldn't afford my lifestyle. I had a vehicle taken back that I couldn't pay for. And I couldn't quite figure out then what the difference was, or what was I missing, what happened, because prior to that, I was busy all the time, constantly getting new customers. But I learned later that I did not have the atmosphere, one, that my clients were previously accustomed to being in. Two, I didn't have the marketing strategies, right, that the other salon was using, nor the amenities. So my understanding was that I was just going to keep doing clients, that it was just going to continue to flow like that. And so I had tactic, but I didn't have strategy. I had tactic, but I didn't have strategy. And I later left the booth rental situation, moved about 2 hours away, ended up in, again, one of the busiest salons in that area in Raleigh, North Carolina, and ran into my mentor. And my life, my understanding of the salon industry, business, things of that nature has not been the same since, because I had someone who had already gone the mile, who was very successful in what they were doing, to show me the ropes. Even if I wasn't sitting down asking her questions, watching her and learning the way they did business. It was a very structured salon. If there was a concert with, stars or famous people, if you want to say, coming into our area, they contacted In-Flight Hair Salon to get their hair done. So I experienced a lot of things while working there that became strategies for me. Once I left, I stayed with that company for about 5 years. But when I left, I had developed skill sets outside of just doing hair, right? I also was able to see how they operated and how they used systems and the strategies that they used. So when I moved back, to the area that I was from. I built a new clientele in 6 months, only working 2 days behind the chair, because I learned strategies that I didn't know before. And so I see often in our industry that many owners are using tactics, but not necessarily strategy. Tactics, but not necessarily strategy. So remember, I said strategy is long-term versus short-term. Strategy is mastery, as opposed to just doing it quickly and moving on to something else. Strategy is to get a specific goal, like that's further out than where you are now. Tactic is for like right now.